Hi guys, Carly here. Thank you for tuning back into my YouTube channel. I'm so excited to be coming to you guys today with a new Glee related video. So I really enjoyed doing part 1 and 2 over the last 2 weeks of what I thought were the worst and best performed songs on Glee. So what I decided to do this week was another two-parter, but this time I'm doing my favourite couples on Glee and the worst couples on Glee. Now, if we're being honest, there were so many couples I could have picked from. It's really true what they said on the show, and my personal opinion, pretty much everyone got with everyone at some point, or had a relationship, or kissed someone, or whatever. There was so many couples. I mean, even people nowadays, they enjoy crack ships, don't they? I know a lot of people that do, like fan fiction and ship crack ships. So there are so many different combinations they've had on the show. I think a lot of my favorite couples are pretty self-explanatory when you hear who they are, but I think there are some really strong couples on the show, and I'm going to tell you why they're my favorites. So if you like this video, stick around. So this is part 1. Next week we'll be doing part 2, which are the worst couples on Glee. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So starting at number 10, I'm going to make my way backwards again to my all-time favourite couple at number 1. So number 10 is St. Berry. Now, when you hear who my number 1 is, I think it's going to be pretty self-explanatory to why they're number 10, but I'm going to say it anyway. I didn't particularly like Jesse and Rachel in the first season. I thought they had amazing chemistry, and as the series progressed and we kind of saw a different side of Jesse once he was kind of, I suppose, kicked out. Well, he wasn't kicked out of college, and he graduated and then went on, and then he never went to school, so he kind of got kicked out of his college. I did like him. I think my one OTP were the best suited, and it is someone with Rachel, and you're probably all guessing who it is anyway, but I'm not gonna say, I'm gonna save it for the big reveal. But saying that, I think that after that person, Rachel and Jesse were the best suited match. I really didn't mind Sanchel at some point. I'm not a big Huckleberry fan, if I'm being totally honest. I mean, they were cute, I suppose. But I just think that Jesse and Rachel did have a lot in common, and they obviously had like musical chemistry, and I think if she couldn't end up with the person that I wanted her to end up with, I think that Jesse and Rachel were the next best match. So that is why St. Berry is at number 10. And number 9 is Charlie, which is Jake and Marley. Now, I wasn't at first a massive fan of Jake and Marley, and I hate that the writers made Jake cheat on Marley with Brie. But while they were together, I do think they had some sweet moments, and I do think he genuinely cared for her. I know that Ryder and Marley, so I think it's Raleigh, isn't it, or something like that, would have been a nice couple, but I do think she brought out the better half of Jake, and I also think that he brought out a bit more confidence in Marley, and I think that if they hadn't had the cheating, they would have been a really good couple. So that is why Charlie is at number 9. Okay, number 8. I feel like this is probably gonna be a bit controversial, but Pisces. Now, I don't know so much if I'm a fan of Puck and Lauren Dicey together at first. I do like them now. I'm not like they're my OTP favourite couple, they're like in the top 5 or anything, but like Jake and Marley, I do think how they brought out a lot of the best in each other, but I also think that they brought out the worst. They weren't the perfect couple, but I like that they showed a side to Noah that Noah, well, I call him Noah, but he's Puck, didn't care about looks or anything like that. He actually went for what his heart was telling him at the time, and I think that's something really nice, and it was a nice way to explore that side of Puck that we hadn't really seen at that point, because this was in obviously season 2. But I do think they were a nice couple. I don't know if they would have been an OTP couple of mine, but they were a good couple, I think, on the show. Okay, Number 7. Now, I mentioned this briefly in last week. It's a bit controversial, this couple. I always have had a love-hate relationship with this couple. It's Wemmer, which is Will and Emma. Now, I did not like Wemmer season 1. I didn't like them season 2. Season 3 and 4, they were okay. I liked them. See, and as the series progressed, I didn't really like them as a couple, but I do think they were nice couples, and right now, which is why they made the list, I do like them as a couple. You know, I think in my head, I just never could have really seen them ending up together, but seeing them in kind of season 3 and 4, I think that was when they were at their strongest, and I do like them in those seasons, and I do think they are a good couple, and it's, you know, really sweet how, you know, Will proposes to her and things like that. I'm not sure they would ever have been an endgame couple of mine, but I am glad they ended up together, although at one point I did think that Carl Howell, who was the dentist in season 2, I did think he was really good for Emma, but I knew they would never, the writers were never going to end them up together. It always has been like other couples, Wemmer from the start for the writers, and you know, I think it's nice they ended up together and ended up having children, and they did have a good relationship. But I don't know, that they're a bit of a couple that I'm always on off with. I never really know if I'm like a supporter of them or not, but at the minute I'm a supporter, which is why they made it on the list. Okay, number 6 is Tyke. I mentioned this in the other, again, like the worst or favourite couples of Glee. I can't remember what video. It was in one of the 2-parter, but I do love Tyke. They are number 6 on the list. I think Tyke are a really strong couple, and they're the longest running, like, consistent couple on the show. I just think they were very suited to each other, like, and I think with that it was genuine love, whereas when Tina was with like Artie and that, I think it was more a friendship love. I don't think it was love, and I think they just have such good chemistry, and they're so cute together. So number 6 on my list is Tyke. Okay, number 5 on my list is Wildbrams. I think they are a really good couple. I think they're an underrated couple. I don't know, I mean, I know a few people that support Wildbrams, but I don't know a lot of people, to be honest. I think they're a really good couple. I think Kitty was such in season 4, and I think when she got with Artie, he really, well, I think a little bit before that anyway, but I think being with Artie mellowed her out even more and made us see a different side to Kitty. I think they were really cute together. Artie, to be honest with you, he could be a right savage person sometimes. And I think they had a lot of similarities in that respect. Like, they were very sarcastic and blunt with their comments, even if Artie done it in a way that wasn't as, I suppose, blunt, but he was being blunt, if you get what I mean. But I do think they were a cute couple. I think if they'd been given more of a chance, to be honest, I know at the end Tina ended up with Artie, and Artie obviously ended up with Tina. Just said the same thing, but never mind. But saying that, I would have preferred Kitty and Artie to end up together, and I would have preferred Mike and Tina to end up together. I think that would have made a lot more sense. But saying that, I'm still happy with kind of how it ended. Let me know what you guys think. Comment below. Did you like how the show ended, or would you have preferred it ended in a different way? I think there are some things I would have done differently, but there are some things I think they done really well on the end. Okay, number 4 is, I can never pronounce this, Fabre Evans, which is Fabre and Evans mixed together, making it Sam and Quinn. I know a lot of people are going to disagree on this, but I actually think that Sam and Quinn were the best couple when they were together, like, out of all of Quinn's relationship. Because let's be honest, Quinn pretty much has gone every which way you can go. She's been with Santana, she's been, well, not been with Santana, but she slept with Santana, my crack ship is for Berry. She gives eyes to Rachel. I don't care what anyone says. She gives eyes to Rachel. She's been with Park, Sam, Finn, you know, pretty much everyone. And I actually think Sam was the best match for her. I'm kind of sad she ended up with Park. I know there might be a lot of shippers of Park and Quinn out there. That's fine if you do. This is just my opinions. But I think they were really good, and I do think it's a shame that they made Quinn cheat again, because, you know, I think when she was with Sam, she was at her best personally, but that's just my opinion. And, you know, they helped each other out a lot, especially when, you know, Sam was homeless, etc. So I don't know why they split them up. That was Ryan, Ian and Brad's intentions. I don't know, but I think they should have ended up together. Okay, we're up to our top 3, and I know these are going to be really obvious to people. Number 3 is Klaine. Klaine is one of my OTPs. I know they had a lot of breakups and they cheated a lot, but I do think they were always there for each other, and they did always love each other regardless. You know, Blaine came into Kurt's life when Kurt was having such a horrendous time at William McKinley, and I think that they formed a really special relationship from then, and I don't think I could ever have imagined them ending up with anyone else. I think if the show had done like what they did with like Tina and Artie, like putting them with different people who I would have seen Endgame always, I would have been really upset. I am glad, you know, they ended up together and Rachel ended up being their surrogate. But they are just so cute when they are together. I know they do go through rough patches, but any relationship does. You can't tell me there's one relationship in the world where it's perfect. Okay, number 2 is Brittana. Oh, I just love Brittany and Santana together. I think it is so cute, their relationship. She's always had a heart for Brittany, and I'm so glad she ended up going with what her heart was telling her, because they could just be so cute together. Oh, I just love them. I am a bit annoyed, I know this might sound controversial, they had a double wedding. I would love to have seen just Brittany and Santana have their own day, and Kurt and Blaine, but I understand that the season was ending, and that's probably, and they knew that's what the fans wanted, and that's probably why they done it, so they could like squeeze it all in. But I'm so glad that they ended up together. I would love to have seen a little bit more in the last episode of what happened to them. Like, they just came back for like the I Lived number. I mean, obviously I know there was a lot going on behind the scenes. I'm trying to make this a positive video, so I'm not going to go into too much. If you want to know what drama went on, go look it up. But saying that, they are just such a cute couple. I love them. And number 1, are you ready, guys? Number 1 is Finchel. I absolutely love Finchel. They will always be my OTP. I could not love them anymore. They tried. I know they're not the like stereotypical like perfect match. They are very different. Like, you think back to season 1, how Rachel was and Finn, and they've always loved each other. I don't care what anyone says, they've always loved each other. They are the one couple I watched when from the start that I always saw they had chemistry no matter what. Like, obviously everyone had chemistry, but they just had that little bit more. Like, when I saw it, I know obviously they were going out in real life, so they obviously liked each other, but I always believed it when it was on screen with them from season 1. Like, and the other couples I believed it as well, but it just took a bit of time to grow with me, and that's not a bad thing, but it just took a bit of time for them to grow with me. But this couple, oh my goodness, I have loved them from the start. I could not love this couple anymore if I tried. This would have been my ideal Glee ending had Corey, bless his heart, not passed away. And I know this is what they were going to do. I would love to have seen how that scene played out, you know, where they said they were going to he was going to be a teacher and Rachel was just going to come back and say, I'm home. I would have loved to have seen that, but obviously that was never going to happen with Corey passing. I would have loved to have seen if they'd continued with that, and what, you know, when they do the flash forward to 5 years, what Finchel's future would have been, which is why I say that after Finn being with Rachel, I do think that her end up with Jesse was the best solution, and I am happy she ended up with someone rather than them just kind of just be on Broadway and kind of by herself. But they will always be my OTP. Finchel on my heart. I love them with everything going, and they will always be my favourite couple of all time. There will be no one that will be able to change that. They've been it since the start, since I first started watching the first episode, and they have been it right until even after he passed. I still shipped them, and I still ship them to this day. So that is it, guys. Thank you for tuning in to part 1 of my favourite and least favourite couples on Glee. Come back next week for part 2, where we'll be going through the least favourite couples on Glee. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below. Alright guys, bye!